be it. That must be it. Let me briefly check actually what the current permissions are for this channel, as I know we've changed them over time a few times. So let's see.
I'm Carlos in the house.
That's me.
Oh my god. Hey Carlos,
How are you guys doing?
doing well, man. Yourself?
Good, good. I had a meeting finishing at an hour ago, and it went 50 minutes late, so I had to run my ass to my room. But I'm here.
Oh
I made
wow. Good
That was
stuff. Good stuff. Let me see. I'm briefly looking into the permissions here, if they look okay.
Yeah, hopefully they are able to unmute.
Yeah, I think that is going to work. Or actually, can people...
Can anyone unmute and say
I
something?
see Agrovane is unmuted, so that's helpful.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
GM Brian.
Good morning.
Good day.
I probably wasn't the requested audience to talk. Is anyone else talking?
Yes, if you can't hear us, then it's you.
No, I can hear you. I just meant any non-council.
Ah, yeah, no, that was my question as well. If
I
anybody
can
could
talk.
try. I mean,
I'm a mod, so I don't
who is
know.
not a moderator and not a council member, it would be great to see if you guys can talk. If you cannot, please let us know in the text chat.
Yes, we can hear you, Shadix. You are a moderator, though.
Yeah. But
Oh,
me.
Kiwi Me.
Yeah.
Kiwi Me. Wow, this is such a difficult name. Kiwi Me. I always struggle. Kiwi Me, how are you doing, friend? Can you talk perhaps for a short bit that we know that you can actually talk here?
We can't hear you.
Yeah, so exactly, because it could be that we need some, perhaps...
One sec. In chat.
Oh, cool. Ah, okay, yeah, we have, I think we have voice activity turned off, so you would need push to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Can we turn that on?
By the way, I do have a cold, so I am, yeah, well, actually, just that you know, I cough every now and then. My voice is a little bit messed up. Voice activity, other than that, I think everything should be working here.
So how are we supposed to address you, mighty council members?
Lord Funcracker, King Brian, and Deity Carlos.
Got you. Deity. Wow.
Deity, wow.
I know I just came up with something now.
I got promoted. Yeah, I'm checking the permissions for the citizens, and they seem to be right.
I just turned on push to talk for everyone, so everyone should be able to use a non-push to talk.
Perfect.
Voice activity should work.
Cool. Let's see how that goes.
PG?
Tanti in the house.
PG, can you say something?
Anybody who's not a moderator or team member or council member say something, just so we check that it's possible.
AR test is aggravating.
Agrovane, awesome. Thanks, dude. Good stuff. Good stuff. So it's working. Good.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Cool. Let's kick things off, I guess. Yeah, you guys all here from the German Cologne Gamescom proposal side?
Yes, that will be me, Kiwi Me, and VB.
Awesome stuff. I guess VB is recording, I think, given I see Stylus TV here, which is also great.
Yeah.
Test.
Yes, we can hear you.
Now it's working. Perfect. Hi.
Good stuff. Carlos, you want to take it away?
Yeah. I was giving them the 5-minute grace period.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think we're gonna go through too much in the next couple of minutes while we just introduce this session. So we saw that the German community had this PIP that was getting good traction, and and going forward. And it seems a perfect PIP to start the whole DAO process. So I told them that we could meet and discuss a little bit about it to help them, finish the draft process, to start that process actually, into something that can be voted on. And as this is going to be the first PIP where we do something like this, we thought that it would be a good idea to make it open, to invite people, and to also make it some kind of workshop. So moving forward, people know, what's our opinion and how things gotta go, so we can get to test the knowledge base all together and answer any questions people may have. So that's basically the mission for today. This is not meant to be something really formal. It's more an informal, laid back with the community. We are just part of the community, and we want to be able to answer questions. And we are also testing the ground for different ways of interacting with the community and see what gets a hold. So any feedback after this session will be greatly appreciated. So yeah, I think we can go. I would love for the authors to talk a little bit about their PIP, the intention, and where they think they can be helped the most. And then, after that, we can start going through the structure of the idea and see how we can make it into help you guys make it into a draft. So let me see if I can open here the forum thing. So who's going to speak first in behalf of this?
I can start.
There you go.
Me. Well, we have a weekly German brew, and we discussed Dartless presence at Gamescom, because we also talked at the summit with Francesca and Michael and some of the other team members that it is a possibility. So we started talking at our weekly brew about the possibility of setting up a PIP to create like an event for the community around Gamescom. And the other angle to this, VB was heavily behind this, to establish a first PIP to get you guys to do something, right? That's also an angle that why we want to do this actually, and to get it started. I see the smiles from Santi. So yeah, we started this PIP process of just like talking about it at our brew, at the weekly brew, setting up an idea, and then we just brainstormed every week. And by now, this has turned out to be something way bigger than we expected, because mainly we had talks internally with Santi that the Italian community is also interested in doing an event, like a starters gathering. And so they want to do something right after the Gamescom. Now we have this other plan, this whole different plan now, that we would like to create a Starters Europe tour right after Gamescom, which is not what we're here for right now, but just felt like mentioning that there is now like a lot of attention on this, and we would like to offer something to other parts of Europe as well. Santi said it's not. No, it's not a joke. So yeah, where do I take this from here? Is there any questions so far on what we prepared, or what I can get into? Or Kivimi, do you have something to add?
No, not really. Maybe just that we were pretty impressed from the Impact Summit that you had in Singapore, and we were a bit jealous, and that was maybe also one of the driver that we thought it would be great to finally also get one date to get the German community together. And yeah, we speak every week at our German Stammtisch every Monday, and yeah, we thought it will be the time that we get something done to meet us in real life.
Yeah.
So for me, I see a couple of, like, this is such a great idea. I also love the tour. It's something that we've talked about in the council is, there's there's the putting together the draft, but none of this is guaranteed. You still have to convince post holders it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole other aspect of this. And part of that is that, are the funds going to be used responsibly, and what exactly is this money going towards? So have you guys been able to work on that at all? Like, figure out any funding?
Let
Like, has anyone ran an event like this before? Because that's also something that I think would be useful to go into this draft, but also to convince the poll holders to vote.
I want to add some. Also first, we need to stick to the basics. So the thing is, basically, it's just a meetup for anybody who wants to come and meet us at that date. All the rest with what we added now with the Italians, maybe the French community and all this, I think that's just add-ons to that. So I think it's better we stick to the main thing. So we wanted a meetup, like you see in many other DAOs, where everybody can come, or something similar to Funcracker did on the previous breakpoint, on the boat, for example. And the idea is that the DAO maybe helps us paying some costs, for example, the location, maybe a free drink, and most of all, some merch, because we want to create some merch bags, and everybody who's attending should get something in that way. And the good thing is we kind of want to couple it with the Gamescom, because most of us gonna be at Gamescom. It's during the same week or the same weekend, actually. So the idea that was we get some merch from the DAO, paid from the DAO. Maybe we can even employ some people using the IP. It would be, I think at the moment, only one would be Griggs. But maybe that's actually a separate thing, because for the PIP, we kind of want to stick to only some funding for the location, maybe a free drink and some merch. And yeah, all the rest, like with the tour and the Italian pips and all this, I think it would make it too big and too complicated.
Yeah.
Maybe this also leads directly to a question from my side. So as VB also said, stick to the basics. So it actually started with a quite small intention. So just book a location, get the community together, maybe drink 1 or 2 beers together. So quite simple. So what would you suggest to put into the PIP? Should it be just these basic meetup, or should it directly go with the big bang with the Europe tour and the Gamescom attendance and also some marketing activities or so? Or should we really keep it on the core basic and then probably create sub-pips, which could be then additional to our basic pip? Or what would your...
Also, I want to point out a few things. Everybody who's listening to this or listened to our previous recordings, we did the PIP and all the creation live on stream. So everybody can join, everybody can help out, be volunteering. We have a Notion site created where we organize everything. And also this thing is gonna, like the meetup is gonna happen anyway. So that was the first point. So even if we fail with the PIP and we don't get enough votes or whatever, we're still gonna meet up at the date. And with the cost for the location, I think we can settle it somehow. But so the PIP would be just a bonus thing, and it would like expand the actual event. We could make it nicer, better, and we would have some cool stuff and all this kind. So the event is gonna happen either way, but would be nice to get some support from the.
Yeah, so I'll just touch on this again between the smaller PIP and the larger PIP. The larger PIP, it's fine if things are complicated. The DAO just needs to know that you can do it. So it's really a lot more work on your end to do a bigger PIP, because you have to, account for all the multiple events you're planning on doing, all the costs, all those things, versus a smaller pip where, you just have that one meeting. So I think either one is totally fine, but it's really about what you guys want to do as a community and the amount of work you're willing to put forward to do that.
Yeah, and last week we started talking about this, and we came with some tentative solutions that might make the process a little easier for this specific kind of event. One thing that we're very conscious is that every pip is going to be its own animal, and it might need different things to prove and to convince people or to justify things. But we were talking last week about how to approach this scenario. And the easiest way right now would be to work on this first pip for the Cologne that is very specific and is a little more weeded out. But Funcracker, I think, was bringing a very interesting idea to ask for a more general pip, right? Funcracker, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that other idea we had last week?
Yeah, well, so the thing here is that, so we can imagine that there will be many people on the globe who would like to have a meetup with fellow Star Atlas enthusiasts. To that effect, we are working, or specifically Brian actually is currently working on assembling a pip from our side to make that easier for people, for low budget events, just to indeed support them. I'm not entirely sure, Carlos. I know we were talking specifically about if this event is going to be an event like such an event, like could take place anywhere else. Yes, it's happening in Cologne, but it could as well happen in some village in some random other country, because it is not necessarily related to Gamescom. It's just, of course, that there is an additional incentive, which is Gamescom, for people to show up. And therefore, it might have a better chance of, success if you define success by getting more people, of course, to join. But it would still just be a meetup, a regular meetup. And one of the things we were talking about, also on the topic of complexity, is yes, and I know we also talked about it during the Stammtisch. It's true that it's in general smart to keep things simple. And not make it overly complicated. And if there's a lot of moving parts, then perhaps move those to different pips altogether. So I'm thinking, because of course I have a personal opinion, I have a council hat here, but I would definitely suggest because it's so vague at this point in time, to stick to just this one meetup. It can always be expanded into a tour. But given that probably other people are going to organize parts of that, it would make more sense for them to organize a pip, and then point to this one, especially if it is approved, and say, hey, cool, look, this already is going to take place. It's going to take place on that date, and we're going to do something in the neighborhood or not, or in Europe or whatever, within a few days later, for example. But after your meetup, I still feel personally that it may be more interesting because you're saying merchandise, and I do understand, of course, you would like to get merchandise, but if you're going to, I thought the idea was also to kind of spread the word and promote Star Atlas at Gamescom or around Gamescom, which would make this whole thing more interesting for me personally. But also for the council, because if not, then you may be better off. Well, I'm not saying better off, but you may also opt to wait for the pip that Brian is currently composing and just go through that route, because that will be a more blanket thing for meetups in general. It kind of depends, because there will be a max budget there, and I know I'm kind of taking what do you call this? Like I'm front running stuff that is still going to be done. So take this with a grain of salt. It will be all defined and everything. But the idea so far is that there is like a max budget, of course, for these kind of events. So yeah, you can take this either way. If it will be an ordinary meetup, you can opt to potentially wait and just join that train when it gets here. If you want to do something special and make it less of a general affair, and plug Gamescom into it and perhaps promoting Star Atlas specifically, then I would definitely make a separate pip. And then also, of course, merchandise, not so much for you, but also to potentially share with attendees of Gamescom and share the word, is of course a completely different ball game. But I feel, again, this is personally, it's just more interesting and perhaps also more appealing, but both are perfectly fine approaches. So you can definitely choose which one you want to do, just a meetup or a meetup with Gamescom promotion included. Even the Europe tour, but again, I would advise against that because that's a more recent development. It's not completely in your hands. It makes things a lot more complicated. And I don't know if you don't want your Gamescom meetup to fail just because the Europe tour proposal is not going to make it, for example, right? So I would also, for that reason, definitely split it up.
Yeah, and it's basically the same route we went. So we wanted to have the meetup and then the event and then pip, and then we thought, oh my God, it would be nice if we could be like the first pip and other pips could follow like in the same direction.
Yeah.
But then I would say, if you watch other DAOs like Bonk or Jupiter, and probably something like Brian is working on, I would say a pip to create events, meetups, or something maybe similar to what Intergalactic Herald does, even a platform to create meetups would be nicer. So I imagine like if we have like 10, 20, 30 meetups a year, so the DAO doesn't need a pip for every event. So something like when Brian does this now, you just have, okay, there's a limit. We have $500 per event. Like we sponsor a drink and a snack and the location or whatever. So people don't need to go to the whole pip process to meet up for a meetup. Just to have it like simplified. Yeah,
that would be the
but for
general
our
view.
pip, like the thing is now the question you mentioned: should we just do our? It's called Comet, by the way. We also have a nice to-do list, and we currently checking for the location and all this. It's well organized and all this, but the question would be, as you said, should we get funds just for the meetup, or should we get funds for both things, for the meetup and then us spreading the Star Atlas gospel at this Gamescom? Because I think that's maybe 2 pips. I'm not sure if we bloat up our pip, like with, so basically everybody comes to the event, gets a goodie bag, and that would be nice if the DAO could sponsor like whatever, t-shirts, a few stickers or poster or whatever. But or do we add to our pip that all of us going to the Gamescom 1 or 2 days and then just handing out sit cards or stickers or make a little tombola or whatever? We don't have any funds to have a booth or something on the Gamescom. That's far too expensive. But all the people who are attending the meetup probably can go together to the Gamescom and then just like make some noise there, But the question would be, should we add this to our pip or should we make it 2 pips out?
1 pip. 1 pip for the entire event. Because you got to think that people need to vote on this, and if it's a bunch of tiny pips, it can be.
So we add it to, okay, then we know, okay, then we're gonna add this.
You can do it both ways, but just I guess more personal advice, or I don't know if where the council ends and the person really starts, but I think it will be much more appealing to folks if you're going to promote Star Atlas at Gamescom than if you just do an event. And especially because you mentioned you want to give merch bags to the people attending the meetup. Keep, of course, in mind that, and just goes generally, like the more funds you want, the more resistance there will be, of course, for approving the PIP.
By the community.
Which is just a general blanket statement here, and not, but just that you know.
That's
more like
a whole other topic, like to convince the people like to vote for it. But yeah, I'm not sure myself now, because I thought it might be better to stick to the basic and just go for the event. And if we want to do something at Gamescom directly, that's sort of an extra or appendix or whatever. But yeah, now I'm not sure anymore. Maybe my fellow comrades here, Kibimi or
Yes.
Complexity is not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's supported by good reasoning and a good implementation plan, right? In this case, you are at Gamescom, whatever, you want to represent Star Atlas. So there's many things that make this a little more complex than a regular meetup, which is a little different from what Brian is doing right now, because once you are representing Star Atlas in a Gamecom kind of situation, now the team needs to be sure that every imagery and graphic design and stuff that is given, it falls into the parameters of what they consider that it has enough quality. And these kind of souvenirs and bags and all that increase the budget a little bit. So that's why we think this could be better PIP on its own. And again, you can make it as complex as you want, as long as you can justify why and you can explain coherently how you're going to implement all these things and what kind of research you have done ahead of time, how many people are you expecting, etc. I think, Brian, the idea you're working on is more like a PIP that is going to be an umbrella that is going to cover a few smaller events with very specific parameters. And hoping that the community is going to support that.
It's called the Fun Fund. Maybe I've been toying with Iris's Bounty. So essentially,
there's a project name, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we'll set up the PIP to handle low budget meetups. It's like $200-300 max, and it's going to give the council the authority. Let's say $5,000 for a year. So we have a budget, and the council approves specific events. So if there's 28 events, then we can give them $200 per event. And this has been quite successful. I think Dan was part of this idea. He had a college kind of DAO where they were handed out funds in a similar manner, and it was quite successful. The thing is, we need to get the pools holders on board as well, and then they're giving the DAO more power to handle the funds. There may be some resistance there. So it's definitely not guaranteed at this point. I think it's a great idea, but we'll have to get support. So if definitely it's a great idea to do your own PIP, especially for merchandise. But I don't think it has to be super complicated either. Get some merchandise specs, get your bags, get your products, tag that onto the meetup. I don't imagine it's going to be super expensive. You can print pens and stuff quite cheaply. But I don't think that the community will have a problem. Let's say that your meetup was 500 and the merchandise was 500, $1,000 to go to Gamescom doesn't seem super expensive to me. Just make sure that you have somebody on your team who knows how to do that, knows how to order merchandise.
Then also what's interesting in that regard, Brian, is for these, how you do with the costs, usually I thought, okay, we have to upfront the location, the reservation, we have to print the merch on our own. Then we do the PIP, and see if we can get some money back. Or for your PIP, for example, do you hand out $200 up front? If I say I make a meetup in Berlin tomorrow or next week, and then I want to meet some Star Atlas people, I'm in that bar, and then I give you the bill from that, or how you think that's going to work?
We were actually talking about this with the foundation the other day, because this is tricky, and this is a very important question that everyone will have on their PIPs, and not all the PIPs are going to work the same way. The easiest way to be reimbursed after the fact, once you show receipts and then you get the money back, that would be the ideal scenario from the foundation point of view. But to be honest, if you need something specific to happen in a different way, it would be ideal if you include that as part of the PIP, and you say, after this time frame, 15 days before the event, we need this amount, and then during the event, we need this other amount. And then when you make all those things clear, we are going to check that with the foundation, and we want to make sure that we can accommodate to those things should the PIP be approved. Does that make sense?
The more room you leave in your PIP for potentially, rug pulling part, or just running away with the money, then of course that will also be part of the PIP and how people look at it. So I think it would, you have the best chance if you can front run everything and then say, hey, we have the receipts, and then afterwards we would like to get reimbursed. You can still, of course, do the pip, and you should still. And I see PG here saying that you need to have quotes for any item, and yeah, you should, of course, have a budget plan. It should be part of the pip. Like, hey, what do you need and why is a crucial question. And if you can pay that yourself, after, of course, the pip has been hopefully then, of course, approved, you know you will get the money. And again, yeah, as Carlos said, if you need for some reason, if you cannot afford or if it's difficult, then you should put it into the pip. Hey, we need a certain amount beforehand, exactly as Carlos just said. But keep in mind also the optics of what you put in the pip in this regard.
That is actually a pretty interesting topic. So imagine if the meetup is pretty successful, and then also in the next, I don't know, 2 to 5 years or so, it's becoming bigger and bigger. That was also a thought we had to maybe create an own IP for that. So as a yearly event, and that maybe if it's really growing, this could also mean that the costs we need to plan upfront will be way more expensive. And then also regarding risk management, when there is any change or so, which is then happening after the approval, what does it mean for us as an organizer, with the budget what we might already have paid from our own, or also from the DAO funds? How could this look like?
So what's in the pip is in the pip, and that's what's going to happen, right? We cannot, if you have additional costs or expenses that are not covered by the pip, then we cannot. It's impossible for us to just give you additional money, because that's of course what the community has to vote upon. So you could potentially create a new pip or request for further reimbursement. Potentially, I'm just now spitballing here, but please just try to keep it within those bounds. Know that if you exceed it, that you have an issue. And potentially, of course, it's fine if you say, hey, we would like to ask for number X. We plan to spend X minus something because we want to have a buffer. And then we're not going to give you the X amount if you indeed manage to stay below. But the people at least know that it could run up to amount X, which of course means that, again, you're asking for a bigger number potentially. So that's all part of the politics here. Like, give everything consideration, but yeah, you should be careful with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And of course, for future events, there will be new pips in the future. So, and of course, if you have an event under your belt that was smaller and successful, you of course have also, I guess, a better story next time for a bigger event and potentially higher budget.
Yeah, and this is where the PIP ideas channel is very important, because it allows you to mature the idea and start expanding the original thought. We recommend that you guys edit that original, thought that when you start the thread, and you keep editing as the idea advances, so it gets more complex, and people, when they join, they can see exactly where it is at that point. And it's very important to understand that you guys are responsible to fleshing out all this, that the console is the console is basically not involved in the idea part until you guys need help to make it a proposal, a draft. At that point, we're free to jump in and help you get to that stage. But before that, it's just an idea being discussed with the community, and it's the responsibility of the author to advance that idea. This is going to be part of the learning process that we all have here. And the most important takeaway you can get from that is that you really need a clear plan of implementation, because anyone can have a good idea. I'm sure if we have 10,000 people in Discord, we're going to have 20,000 good ideas, but not everyone is going to be able to implement those ideas. And until you build that team and you can explain coherently how you're going to achieve that end, there's nothing we can do to help you. All we can do is help you create the right format to take it to voting, and then it's also your responsibility to advertise it and bring people to vote and pass it.
Something we can help out with is we can connect you guys with the right people, right? So if you're not sure how to do merchandise, we can connect you. Santi and Dom know a lot of people as well. So you're not quite out there all alone, but it's your responsibility to write up the draft and actually do the implementation. But if you need help with certain parts, we can connect you to the right people. Maybe you can collab with other organizers or other groups in Star Atlas.
Let's talk realistically, because in the end it would be like, then we do the event first and then we make a pip about the DAO sponsoring some of the builds, so
No. You first make a pip. You make a pip. You get a budget. You get like your estimates in, hopefully based on some quotes.
So
you get the pip approved. You organize the event. You have the event.
Like for example, we have the location, and we have a down payment on the location. We add that to the pip. We say we want 50 T-shirts. We had a cost estimation of the 50 T-shirts. We say we want 1,000 stickers. We add this, and then we include that as an appendix to our pip proposal, or add it into the.
No, it should be not an appendix. It is part of the actual structure of the pip. That should be that's a topic you have to answer in the pip.
So that goes.
So we add it to the pip, and
the draft.
what kind of documents you need then? Like, for example, for the location. So we have the location. We did a down payment on the location or something. Then you need a document for that. Or we ordered 50 T-shirts on Quicks on.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, my colleagues. I think we went with like we would like to see. It's always best if you can give us receipts in the end for perhaps the smaller ones. And again, that's why we're working on like a special setup for smaller meetups. We can do things a bit easier. But if there's a lot of money going into this, then I think it stands to reason that the DAO, the community, would like to have some checks and balances in place. Those invoice and receipts would be very welcome.
So two different.
I see Muftach saying something about fake transaction receipts. Of course, this is fortunately a meetup, so there should be people there having attended, and be able to say, yeah, well, we actually did drink this, we did get this, we were at that location. But for you, Brian.
Yeah, so two different things. You don't need receipts on the draft. The draft, you don't need, documentation.
No.
All you need to do is put like venue, 250, T-shirts, 200, drinks, 300. That's all the detail you need. And then, once the event's finished and you're applying for reimbursement, have the receipts.
Okay, so
Could also
cost estimates, put it in the pip, do the event, and the payout of the pip is after the event, so to say.
Remember, the most transparent you are and upfront with everyone, the easier it's going to be to get the support to pass the voting. Because to us, you have to convince us that you have the format covered, but it's the community you have to convince to approve this expenditure.
I think I heard JP. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say I would also include a lot of these event halls and stuff will have, you can get invoices ahead of time or quotes, and where possible, I would include that. So you don't have to have receipts, but you can get a quote for 50 shirts from a vendor and include that document or the information from that document with your PIP. And I think that would help show the transparency people are looking for. And it won't prove that you've paid it, but it will show that you've done the due diligence to get a quote.
Yeah, you have to sell it to the community, not to us, to the community. So it's important, the more you can back stuff up that you're proposing, like the numbers that you came up with, the better, of course.
And I mean, it really also depends on, for example, also the location. We could also make it quite low budget. What we also discussed, for example, just find a great spot to do a barbecue or so. I mean, it's in August. The weather could be quite nice. That we could also have like such a location for that.
Yeah, I'm sharing really quick the knowledge base. Because the way the formatting that we find in PIP1, the tails thing and the information, it makes a lot easier for you to have a solid plan, because as you answer all these questions, well, these steps on the formatting, you're going to need to justify things and you're going to need to show. And again, the most material and the most things that you include there, the easier it's going to be for you to to achieve that state. So if you see this as questions instead of an information, and you okay, do you have a header? Yes, it's gonna be called. Okay, what's the summary? And then you just write a quick summary. And then as you go checklisting all these questions, you will identify really quickly the places where you're lacking information or where do you need to bring more stuff. I kind of did something like that with a Google form just for testing, and it asks you the questions as you advance. It will help you realize where you're lacking and where you need to bring more information to.
Yeah, we expected all this, like with the up front running the costs and all this is yeah. I guess be clear on that side now.
Yeah, it's also why we recently, of course, added the sticky both to the ideation channel, because we realized that some people indeed got the impression that they just needed to post an idea, get 25 thumbs up, and then they're kind of ready for the next stage. But that's far from the truth, because there's a big, there's a lot of work in between posting an idea, which can be free form and is very small, and posting an actual pip draft, where you need to have answers to a whole bunch of different questions. And the idea of the ideation is yes, getting the 25 thumbs up, but it's also to plug all the gaps and get all those answers, discuss them, tap the community, the wisdom of the crowd to come up with solutions to actually enable you to write that draft completely, and then post it in the pip drafts as the next step. But so definitely go over this list, and if there are any questions, then let us know. But sorry, Brian.
I was going to say, like, as Funcracker was saying, get this draft finished as soon as possible. Get it in the pip draft section, because then the community is going to be commenting on it. And then you're going to find out a whole lot of stuff that you're probably missing that the community wants to see, which is more than, we're telling you now. So yeah, get the draft, get it written down. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an expert on every section. It doesn't have to be an essay. It just needs to address the points for whatever you're doing, right? If you're writing a dev proposal, it's going to be a lot more detailed than a meetup, right? What's the benefit to the community? Getting people together. That's pretty simple versus something more complicated. So make sure you're writing the proposal for what the event is. Outreach, merchandise, meeting.
Also,
yeah.
Don't be afraid to use ChatGPT, guys. Like, there's no stigma against that. If you put bullet points into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, make this a proposal for, a governance proposal draft for Star Atlas DAOs," ChatGPT knows what Star Atlas is. I mean, it's so easy when you just start rattling off some bullet points. It'll give you a really clean format. Some people feel like there's a stigma against using AI. It makes you look lazy, whatever. I mean, I think people are silly for not leveraging AI. So definitely, I wouldn't be scared of doing that as well.
Do tell it to be concise, please. If you can put it in half the amount of words, even better also for us. ChatGPT likes to really ramble on a little bit and make everything super fluffy and.
Yeah, you can tell it be concise, stick to the points I've provided, and it'll do a good job.
Yeah, if I was doing that, I would copy this entire thing into, let's say, a text document, and I would give it this document, say, here's the template, and then I'd put my idea in, like 2 paragraphs. This is my idea. This is what I want to do. We're ordering merch, et cetera, and then put the costs in and say, fill out this template using this information, and it's going to get you like 95% of the way there. Also, say concise. Yeah, and it'll get.
If not, it would be great inspiration. So it's a great way to just get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. It's hiring an assistant that actually knows how to format.
I think we're pretty good. Like we got the directions. We know, like, first of all, we get the location, then we get the merch, then we get all your bills and stuff. And then the question was more like how big we should do the pip. So again, should we stick to the small one, or should we do a bigger one and include the Gamescom merch? That's my only question for now.
In the end, it's up to you guys. It's not something that is up to us per se. We're just giving you, like, right, there are pros and cons to both. If you if you separate them, I can see how that can work. You can literally put them in parallel because one does not rely on the other. If you're indeed saying we will show up anyway, so then one is more like, hey, the meetup is happening, that's done, that's a done deal, but it will be sponsored, and the folks attending the meetup or the folks being there are going to sponsor or spread the word of Threadless at the Gamescom venue. So that could be two separate pips. If you make it one, perhaps the meetup has a better chance to pass as well. It's politics in the end. So it's a bit up to you. Like, what do you think is smart to do in this case? And if you split in two and one of the two passes, are you happy with that, or are you not happy with that? If not, then you probably want to jive them together so they have to pass as one or not. So there's a multitude of questions that are more for you guys to answer than for us. But in general, yes, try to keep complexity low. If there's many outside factors that may be unclear, then move that to potentially a different pip. But in this case, I still think that mashing them together may be beneficial, but that's just my personal thinking, and I'm not sure either. Well, I can't really predict how people are going to vote, but it's in the end, it's really up to you.
Yeah, and we have the cost and resource allocation segment of the PIP. You can just fill those blanks, and we need to take your word for it, and it might pass. But then this is the kind of place where you can add some documentation that will back up what you're saying. And again, the more transparent you are, the easier it's going to be to rally support.
I also personally think that it would make sense to make one pip together, also with the Gamescom attendance. Keep it as specific as possible. But for example, with the Startless Europe tour together with the Italian community meetup, I personally would see it as a separate pip, which could be then come on top of our specific pip. And then also if it really fails our pip with also the Gamescom attendance, then we could probably still rely on Brian, on your pip, what you are actually preparing for the community as a whole.
And there will
exactly.
also be situations where you want the DAO to be a co-sponsor, and you're already bringing part of the funds, and you just want more support to. Let's say that you organize this by yourself, but you want the support of the DAO, so you can also include merchandise, and then you just do a pip about that merchandise and how to justify that, which would be simple. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Funkrager?
No, they are exactly right. And with regards to the Europe tour, again, if I understood it correctly, it means there will be a different meetup happening in Italy, organized by different folks. So they should just make their own pip. And I can even imagine that it first happens like this. There's a meetup happening in Italy. It happens to be like in the neighborhood on the calendar of the Gamescom one. And then you could even, if there's additional stuff that would need to be arranged for a tour, like, I don't know, a bus, for example, I would make a third pip and say, cool, since we have now two pips or two meetings that are going to happen, so afterwards, we would like to offer facilities for folks to move from A to B or whatever, and really just break things apart. So because I don't think that the Italians, for example, would like their pip to fail, because people don't like the Europe Tour bus concept for train or car or whatever you want to do. But they first have to get their meetup through and then add stuff on top. I think this is in this case, right? It again is with it's exactly how they want. Like, are they fine with one of the two happening? Well, in this case, not a tour without a meetup, of course. So if the meetup is going to happen as a standalone thing, or if they feel we have a better chance by combining with the Europe tour, that's again fine. Then they can mesh them together. It's really up to them and how they gauge what they would like to see and what they think is a reasonable pip and may succeed and get approved.
And keep in mind too, like who's going to vote for you, right? There's a lot of people that have more pulse than others. Like Zesk, he's got pulse. He said he supports his event already. You may be getting comments from people in DAO chat and DAO drafts that have no pulse, so you can ignore them. They may have some good ideas, but remember that you're putting this towards an audience who wants the DAO to succeed and the community to grow. So I don't actually think it's going to be a super hard lift because everyone that has Polis wants these events to happen. So really go forward with like that in mind. Like we want the community to grow. These events are specifically, mandated by the Star Atlas Fund. It's like don't be afraid to ask for a bit of money, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah,
And
I want to add most things here, like we know we're a little bit early and stuff. Just with the inclusion of the Gamescom, it's a little bit difficult to plan the event short term. So that's why we started so early. But for sure, we need to add a lot of things. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Just,
curious. You're mentioning venue, for example, and hiring renting a venue. So
yeah. So the
do you have
plan
an idea already how many people are going to show up then? Because that's kind
the
of like,
plan at the moment is we create a event site where people can sign up. So basically, yeah, Luma or whatever
yeah, you get a
website.
ballpark figure.
Yeah, and then we create event. Then to get an estimate how many people are interested. Of course, we try to double check like with the people here in Discord, and then it would be cool even with the DAO, for example, you guys, and also we have, of course, we have Santi to show it up in the brew and stuff. So we get a lot of feedback on that, how many people come, and that will help us also to see, oh, the venue maybe is too small or too big and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're working on that, and yeah, probably, yeah, it's too early, but I guess maybe in January or so we already have the location figured out and see have the site up,
Yeah,
and
because
also
if the group is relatively small, let's say 25 or less, then you may not even need to rent a venue. You can perhaps just make a deal with a place, like a reservation in a sense. I mean, sometimes there are alternatives to this.
yeah, there's a lot of ideas floating around. Like we also thought, first we need to check how many people are actually going to Gamescom. Maybe it would be ideal we stay in the same hotel or something, and then you can improvise and find a free location, of course, or something. Just do a kind of an open air party. There's a lot of things to figure out, but just that everyone is aware. We bring more info probably in January and more details, and then everybody here has to promote it, so we get a lot of people, and then hopefully next year we all see each other at the event.
And for those that haven't read the PIP, this event is going to happen at the end of August. So they are doing this with plenty of time, which is something that we recommend, because you don't know how much time it's going to take you to mature an idea, to get the support, to get enough likes. You guys already got the likes. That's why I reached out to you, so we could help you get the draft process started. And feel free to page me whenever you need to, or any of the other council members. And we'll start going through anything that you may be missing, and how would be a good way to fill in those blanks.
Yeah. Another factor that might be not too unimportant is the team's presence on Gamescom. Currently, it doesn't look like there will be a presence that might make our presence even more important as a community. So we can, be more, how do I say?
Yeah, I have a feeling the team is not going to go to any Web conference until we have the seasons out.
Yeah, that's what I got as well. Yeah,
it's going to be hard.
So yeah, it might be
that's something that we can talk to. Well, you guys can approach with Francesca as well, and see if maybe they are interested in giving you guys some support from the marketing department of Automata, which is not related to us.
Yeah, that's just another.
Yeah, we also plan to include the guilds and every support we can get, actually. So we will see. Maybe we find a few sponsors or something also. So I think the costs won't be too high, like for the DAO or whatever. It's not too much. But yeah,
well,
it would be cool if we get some support.
If you're inviting Santi, he can get really expensive.
Yeah, Santi has to pay. He has to pay big time.
Well, by the way, we have already been in talks with Xcode and Santi for a meta crafting recipe. It was at first, it was just for a generic German meetup, but now I think Kivimi just mentioned it in the chat. We are planning on doing maybe something like a VIP badge that you can craft in Sage, and then you get a drink or something for it. Just felt like advertising this as well. It's something we are already kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, we have a big to-do list and a lot of ideas, so stay tuned.
I like it. Marketing, good stuff. You have to market your event, so yeah,
Especially
Yeah,
too
this-
good
getting
thinking.
This
getting-
event fits perfectly into the PIP4, Star Atlas ecosystem.
The point is also, if we get awareness now, like the point is Gamescom is like the biggest Web2 event in the world. It's like 400,000 people or 500,000. So if people listen to this right now and plan to come, like it's gonna be tough to find a hotel room and all this. So kind of that's why we also early. So yeah, if people planning to come to Europe next year, check out Gamescom and stuff. And yeah.
So you guys brought up a really good point. Like if you're doing an event, if you get more entities involved and do collabs, like this drink token with Automata / Star Atlas, then that's money that the DAO doesn't have to pay because it's coming from Automata, which is great. And it spreads the risk out a bit as well. I mean, there's not much risk for this sort of meetup, but the more entities you have involved, the more that the money is spread out. It's great. So I think that
I'm not sure if the idea of the team is paying those drinks actually, but
well, if you're crafting
would
it
be great
in-game,
though.
right? Or is that
Yeah, the point
Yeah,
is
the token is in game, but
We're
and
crafting it with
we go
resources.
to the Tube DAO right now, and say, hey, we make a Web3 event, sponsor us, and they would probably give us something much easier than the process we do here, But we all Star Atlas geeks and we want to support Star Atlas, that's why we come to this place first, But I mean,
Yeah,
no, please go to Jupe. If they sponsor it much easier, then I would definitely get some money there.
we can trick them.
Yeah, and so on the also reach out to people for sponsorships. So like for example, you could reach out to Titan Analytics. Maybe they're happy to pay for some of this event, and get their name on the sign somewhere. Or other entities like Hologram. Maybe Hologram wants to sponsor. So all
Super
these things
Phoenix DAO.
Super Phoenix DAO, all these things are like really good avenues to, let's say that you're like, I can do 500 pip, but then on my pip, if I say I want at $500, but then Super Phoenix DAO is going to match 250, Titan Analytics is going to match 250. People are like, oh wow, so we're giving 500, but if we do this and that's additional 500, that's like even better. So those kind of tactics.
Yeah. That's also something we planning the goodie bag, and my idea was also like we could ask Rome Guild and Avia Guild to send some stickers of them, so to put all this together in the goodie bag, like so the more people help us and stuff.
Yeah, and the more partners you bring into the idea, the more it validates the PIP to when it comes time to voting.
Yeah.
So it's not the same to vote for something on its own where some people want to meet than having other teams involved and sponsorship. That would be also amazing information.
Politics gonna be
to add
interesting,
on the notes, to add on the notes of the PIP, even if you're not requesting, but just to circle down the idea and make it sexy for people to vote.
I mean, you have to convince Bodhi, you have to convince Virtual, that's also kind of interesting. Like I want to see like other pips, like, okay, we might be at the early one or stuff, but I want to see how the politics behind this, because it would be nice to have to know who to talk to get the votes, Basically, I probably have to talk to Brian and to Virtual, to the Rome guys, and if you convince them, you have a much better chance, So something like that, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And two more things now that we have to spotlight. First of all, I heard there will be great music because someone with the capabilities of making music will be in charge of it. And second of all, we have just regarding the Europe tour, we still look for anyone from the French community who is interested in hosting something in Paris, maybe. because it might be a really good way to complete this whole Europe tour. So if you are interested and want to do something with us, please hit us up. We would love to do a Europe tour. That's just a little shout out. Thank you guys for the advertisement.
Be awesome. Have you guys started talking about the draft among yourself, or you haven't gotten there yet?
No, I thought it's early, because we don't have the location, we don't have the numbers and stuff yet. So I think that's when we got a little more of all the stuff, like the documents and what everybody wants to see. A lot of people pinged me in the chat here. Yeah, we aware that we need to show the bills and the estimates and all that stuff, and then we make the PIP.
The first team to put up a PIP for voting is going to get a lot of free marketing from every direction. So I encourage you guys to jump on that and ask for help if you need to. Even if you don't have, I'm not talking about having a finished draft, but starting the process and checking what are your weak links and all that kind of stuff. It would be a good idea, I think.
And I mean,
also
in general, go ahead, BB.
No, it's open to everyone. Everybody. Okay, it's we did it in the German brew, but every Monday 8 o'clock you can come in to the chat channel, to the voice chat, and then you can work with us on it, basically. So we open to any suggestions. Anybody who wants to join, to volunteer, or has ideas. It's free for everyone. It's basically a public PIP. Like we have a Notion site. We can invite you there. You can add and check what kind of responsibilities you want to take, and so it's open for everyone to work with us. So.
And that's going to be good that you open it for everybody and take all that input. But I would strongly recommend to have a leader, author representing the team,
an organization leader.
in the server, and being in charge of capturing all that, making questions, answering questions, and editing the idea at the top of the thread.
Yeah, that's giving me.
No, it's Lilith. Lilith is our organization leader. We have a woman for that.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
we're half.
We have like a little core team which is taking care of the organization and everything. But I also just wanted to thank you as a council for the opportunity to get here together and discuss everything of that. So in my opinion, it is very valuable for us also to understand that the whole process better, and also to use it to promote our idea. And it was very, very helpful and very motivating. So can't wait to get to our Stammtisch on Monday again and work on that. And really motivating to get something started there and make something big, because also the opportunity or the vision how you can evolve such a community event, that's amazing. And really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. And also thanks for being the first to show up for something like this, right? It's also for you to be in the public spotlight and talk about this with us here in public. So thanks to you guys as well.
And I'll add one point here. So one of the reasons why we want you guys to do these pips is because once other people start seeing pips, it will bring in outside interest. It will cause more people to do pips. So you're doing this for yourselves, but you're also doing this to better the DAO and Star Atlas. So it's really good. It's amazing to do this pip because we want to show people that they can come in and they can build and they contribute to Star Atlas, and Star Atlas will contribute back to them. So thank you for doing this, for the ecosystem as well.
Absolutely.
And on the topic that VB mentioned, it's difficult to get something done here through the pips. Yeah, that's absolutely true, right? And that's also partially because we're still beginning. And again, that's why we also figured we have to probably work on some proposals ourselves to make things easier. Exactly, again, the fun fund, the pip that Brian is working on. So we are aware. And if you guys have any ideas to again, different pips to streamline processes, it's all welcome. But we need to build this from the ground level up. So it may take a bit, but we're very welcome, very open, of course, to suggestions and Either you share them with us or you actually take them to ideation yourself, if you're really passionate about them. But yeah, just so you guys know, it's in like 1, 2 years, 3 years from now, things may be a lot smoother. But yeah, we're just beginning, so it's a bit we're not there yet.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Nothing more.
Meanwhile, oh sorry, Alex.
No worries. All good. Go ahead.
No, I saw some discussion happen on the side. Again, I think about payment if I got it correctly, but yeah. So if there will be anything like upfront, right, then that should be in the PIP, and then it will be kind of also up to the community to decide how trustworthy is this person that they want this amount of money up front. So again, always think about the optics. It's always in the hands of the DAO community. You can ask, and if you all approve it, then who are we to say, oh, wait a sec, we're not going to give these people, well, I mean, we could actually have an insane amount of money or just clearly not the way it should be with malintent, but otherwise it's also up to the community. So doing stuff after the fact with receipts and everything and just budgeting upfront is most likely the safest for the DAO. And most likely, therefore, will create the least amount of friction just on how the cost part are handled to get your PIP approved. So just keep that in mind.
And also keep in mind, this is the initial time. Let's say that these guys have done 6 events and they've got, put the receipts and they've got reimbursed. And the 7th event is slightly bigger and they want some up front. Well, then the DAO is probably going to, you have a much better chance of getting money up front if you've already done 6 events, where you've gotten paid and everything is correct. So it's
exactly
not,
right.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Track record.
Hard and fast rules.
Reputation.
These are like general guidelines that for optics, for for everyone, and it will change as we mature, as you guys mature, as the pips mature. Yeah, please don't do a bond pip. That's not something we're really interested in. I don't even understand what that is. If there's anything that has to do with insurance or liability, the foundation is probably going to take care of it as far as these events. I think that we're working on some sort of what do we call those things where we hand off liability to the organizer?
To add the other point, like you always can do something, and that's also the idea. We're gonna meet anyway, so everybody in August we're gonna meet either way, and even if the PIP fails or something, we're gonna meet. So that's also important. So if you want to do something, just do it, and the PIP is just an addition, like.
Hey, anybody can start a PIP, folks. So bonding, whatever topic you want, you can always ideate on it. So no issues there.
That's true. I'm just trying to save some time.
Well, I'm actually quite curious about this and how this could work, and if it can help, if it could be a valuable instrument, I'm absolutely up for it. So,
and I think the reason why Brian is giving this recommendation is because we have realized after many discussions with Foundation how tricky is the legal stuff, and the simple we get it at the beginning, the better. But yeah, I see where Brian is coming from.
Dan and the Foundation are handling the legal bits, so I wouldn't worry about making a PIP to handle the legal bits because it's way more complicated than we can assess as community members. So let Dan and the Foundation handle that.
2025 is a bull run market, seems like, where there's a lot of crypto and Web3 in general coming into the mainstream, and we are absolutely oblivious of how this is going to affect regulation worldwide. Everything looks good, but it's a year of changes. So the Foundation is going to take a very conservative approach to this to make sure we are not liable for stuff and we are spending funds in legal stuff that we shouldn't be.
Yeah, last bit from my side. So we did talk about remuneration and how, right, some of those topics, but we did not really finalize anything. It will be more, if there's a PIP with a concrete proposal of how they want it to be approached, then we will still discuss it, including with the Foundation and everything. So we're not just saying, yeah, do whatever you want, it will get passed. That's not at all the case here either. So it's just that it's just a bit more of a further away topic. We first need to get some pips into the phase that we can pay any money. And then we'll definitely dive deeper into that. So no worries there. We're not just we're carelessly going to spend or give away the money from the DAO. I mean, we can't, but nonetheless, even if the community doesn't pay attention, we will.
Apparently, the voice chat is full. Someone's saying.
No, but no, that's not possible. There's never, I think, a voice chat that is full. Not with this amount of people. But that's curious.
24. Where's Zamzo?
Not sure, but yeah.
Something to consider in the future. This is all a new experience for everyone here, including the foundation. That's why they are being so careful.
People are leaving, so you should be able to join. But I think we're going to probably call this, right? I think we answered all questions that were for today, and we gave some information. Perhaps did not go over the full structure and life cycle, everything, but I think it hopefully was valuable to people either way. Now it works. Okay. Well, Zamso, welcome and goodbye.
Yeah, no, I think we don't want to make this tedious. Yeah, just going like a lecture with every single step of a document that is already there for everyone. But any questions you guys have now, you can ask it live or just later on, just get it reached to us. If anyone needs another meeting in this voice chat with any of us, you feel free to request and we'll find a way to accommodate it or give back an answer when we can. And we're more than happy to jump on and help people understand and take part into this beautiful process of the DAO.
Yeah, and we'll do more events indeed. We have some ideas as well for that. So no worries. Cool, folks. Then I'm taking my leave. Thanks for being here. Thanks for asking questions. See you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And if anyone has any ideas or inputs to what we're doing, please reach out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
thank
you have anything else to say or questions or something, I can hang out a few more minutes if you guys need. But other than that, the official meeting is over, and feel free to unmute and chat away if you want. This is everyone's channel.
That was a nice meeting. Great job, everybody. I've just been monitoring the chats.
Good stuff, mate. What? Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bohemian, you're late.